what we're dealing with is how to solve a right triangle. And the steps for solving right triangle are found on page 212, but they consist in doing a number of steps, and it's important to do those steps each time that you solve a right triangle. Make a sketch. And change it to red. You guys can see red better. 2. Find the missing angle. That is, if the one angle is there. And 3, use your SOHCAHTOA to find the sides. Alright, so let's look at our first problem. The first problem we're going to do, let's see, you're supposed to do the odds, so we'll do the even ones on page 215. Get the size going here. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is to sketch a right triangle and find all the missing parts. Assume they're labeled as they are in 710, and then make your work to 3 sig digs. Well, 710 is the one that shows that the capital letters are across from the lowercase letters. Capital letters are the sides, the angles, and lowercase letters are the sides. So let's draw our triangle here. And this is the first book I've ever had that drew the triangle where the right angle is on the lower left hand corner, but that's okay. So side B and angle B and side B, A and side A, C and side C. Angle B, I'm going to change that to the number 61.4 degrees. And I'm going to change side B to 82.6. And it doesn't say 82.6 what. And then we are supposed to find the other missing parts. So for this angle, C is the hypotenuse, so we would use the sine function. So the sine of the 61.4 is the opposite, 82.6, over the hypotenuse, C. And then the other side we can find using the tangent of 61.4 is opposite, 82.6, over adjacent, side A. Now if you notice, we want to get C all alone in this one, and to do that we can multiply both sides by C and then divide both sides by sine 61.4. So C is 82.6 over sine 61.4. The way that I remember that is I use 18 divided by 2 is 9, correct? In this case, we're looking for the 2. How would we find it using an 18 and 9? We could put the 9 on the bottom. So instead of having the sign on the left side, we could put the sign in the bottom on the right side. So now we can open up our calculator and press 82.6. Oops, we got to make sure we are in, that our mode is in degrees. It is. So clear. 82.6 divided by sine 61.4 is 94.07, so we would say 94.1. Oh, I gotta switch colors. Oops, 0.1, that's supposed to be. I forgot to show that angle A was 28.6 degrees. Remember, we were supposed to subtract that from 90 to find that one. And then do the same thing down here, 82.6 divided by tangent 61.4 is A. 82.6 divided by tangent 61.4, and we get 45.0. Okay, next. I'm gonna get okay. Number 4. Oops. Draw the triangle again. B is 7.74. A is 22.5. And that would make angle B 67.5. And we have to find the other sides. So 22.5. So this is the adjacent side. So we would say cosine 22.5 is adjacent 7.74 over hypotenuse C. Now I'm using the rule on page 214, the tip that says use the given information for each computation. And that's because what if it's not 67.5? What if I made a mistake in calculating? So use the given stuff and that will help you. Tangent 22.5 is opposite over adjacent. Okay, so in the first case we would say C is 7.74 over the cosine. Remember, we can switch around the 18, the 2, and the 9. And when we do that calculation, 7.74 divided by cosine 22.5, we get 8.37, 8.38. Same thing down here, but remember down here, since we want the A all alone, let's multiply both sides by 7.74. So we would type 7.74 cosine. No, that's not cosine, that's tangent, isn't it? 7.74 tangent 22.5, and we get 3.21. One of the things that it's important to do is to look when you're done. Do we follow the rules that we know about triangles? The hypotenuse is the longest. The shortest side is opposite the smallest angle, and the other angle and side are in the middle. Next one. Let's do number 6. Oh, another B and B. That's a good practice for us. B is 37. Oops, that's a 37.5, 73.2. So A is 52.5, and we're looking for C and A. So sine 37.5 is 73.2 over C. Switch the sine and the 70 and the C around, and we get 73.2 divided by sine 37.5 is 120. Now it said make 3 sig figs, so we would say 120 point. And then for A, oops, I should have done that one in red, shouldn't I? Tangent 37.5 is 73.2 over adjacent side. Do the same thing again. 73.2 divided by tangent 37.5, and I get 95.4. 3 sig digs. Next one. Number 8. This time, angle A is 39.3. That would make angle B 50.7. A is 1.73, so we're looking for B and C. That's sine. It's cosine and tangent we're dealing with this time. Cosine 39.3 is adjacent 1.73 over hypotenuse, and tangent 39.3 is opposite B over 1.73. Okay, let's do the first one. Get the C all alone by taking 1.73 divided by cosine 39.3 is 2.24. That's C. And then for B, we would multiply both sides by 1.73. 1.73 sine, nope, tangent 39.3 is 1.42. Number 10. Oops, I gotta draw the triangle first. Angle B is 44.1, so angle A is 45.9 and 18.3. So if A is 18.3 and the angles are 44.1, we would say cosine 44.1 is adjacent 18.3 over hypotenuse, and tangent 44.1 is opposite, which is B over adjacent 18.3. So in the first case, we're going to take 18.3 divided by the cosine of 44.1, and C is 25.5, and for the other one we would multiply both sides by 18.3 times tangent 44.1, and we get 17.7. Multiply both sides by 18.3, and then up here C is 18.3 over cosine 44.1. Number 12 has different math, and it's important to note that sometimes you are given the sides, and you have to figure out the angles. So let's look at this triangle in number 12. A is 3.88. C is 5.37. So let's find angle or side B first. Mr. Pythagoras will help us with that one. B is the square root of 5.37 squared minus 3.88 squared. Square root 5.37 squared. Oops. Squared. Claire. Let's do it over again. Square root 5.37 squared minus 3.88 squared is 3.71. Then we can find one of the two angles, and it doesn't matter in this case which function we're looking for. Actually, it does matter. We're supposed to use the ones that are that we already knew. So we would say for this angle down here, cosine of angle B is adjacent divided by hypotenuse, or we could say cosine -1 of that is that fraction. And so we will enter second function cosine, because remember, we're looking for an angle. If you're looking for an angle, you press second function. And we get 43.7, which makes this angle up here 46.3. Next one. A is 63.9, B is 84.3, so C is the square root of 63.9 squared plus 84.3 squared. Square root 63.9 squared plus 84.3 squared is 105, 106, 3 sig digs. Take this angle down here, and these two sides make the tangent of that angle. So the tangent of B is 84.3 over 63.9. Remember, we're going to find the angle whose tangent is, or arctan, of those parts, and so we get second function tangent 84.3 divided by 63.9 is 52.8, which makes this 37.2 degrees. Next one. Number 16. It says B is 746 and C is 957. So A is the square root of 957 squared minus 746 squared. So let's find that first. Square root key. 957 squared. Remember, you always take the hypotenuse, subtract, and we get 599. Now for this angle here, these two sides are the opposite in hypotenuse, so we would say the sine of our angle B is opposite 746 over hypotenuse 957, or take the angle whose sine is, angle whose sine is 746 divided by 957, and we get 51.2, so this angle is 38.8. Number 18. In our triangle this time, we've got the opposite, no, the adjacent side is 4.82. The opposite side is 3.28. And so the hypotenuse is I'm going to start over again. Is 3.28 squared plus 4.82 squared square root. So second function, square root 3.28 squared plus 4.82 squared is 5.83. And for this angle, tangent of B is 3.28 over 4.82. So take the second function of, or the angle whose arctangent 3.28. So second function tangent 3.28 divided by 4.82 is 34.2, which makes this 55.8. Number 20, last one. A is 274 and C is 429. Oops, we have to write down our math first before we take out our calculator. Square root 429 squared minus 274 squared. So 330 point. There's our 3 sig digs there. And then for our angle B, cosine B is adjacent to 74 over hypotenuse 429. Remember that we're going to take the angle whose cosine is. So second function cosine 274 divided by 429 is 50.3, which makes this angle 39.7.